Listen, in the dying of this song from my lips, how the world came down like life from the night. And look, how unlike an angel sits she on high, calculating her potency in the arithmetic of parts. She may condescend, groundwards bending, to mechanical consideration. Her pantropic gestures seldom reach me, though I strain in my sinew. Shards of futility fly against her concentrated prowess. In such open expanses, exhalations anguish over themselves, seizing the mist I had hoped was breath. A forever unfolding deeper than skin, astonished in a swarming hive of stars and constellated light. How she wept for her own sovereignty, the sky stricken in the rictus of her dimensions, her small presence bending, etching glyphs with a willow stick in the sands of my ruin. She etched comets of shining wing, spiral dance of all-seeing eyes, carbolic unctions and every feathered thing, a metastasis of miseries. Happiness, her saddest magic, she renders with the pretense of meaning, monstrous and formidable purity. Prettily stern, her lips pressed in overwrought intensity. In pneumatic murmurings, she teaches the crackling of winter trees, the leaning of midnight weeds. Like wounded moths and wind-sick orchids, the hands of the world are so small and pale. She laments, how sweetly in me once she sang, and how now so high and away. How sound the mountain, still unmoved by me, and I, less than heroic, I strain with self-laid chains across my brow, cast quite down and apart. Gone, ungolden, this paramount overkill of permanent unlasting. Look, from the colossal and most ancient of thrones, unburnished even now, and desert brown, sand casts the seraphic armrests, no misericordia against the indifferent palaver, rising always in fragile wisps from unclean throats, the misbegotten children of prayer. My prayer, rise and bend again, she swears. I would eat the shadows of the world if I thought there was light through the trees and such a thing as hope. Already we feel the harpies nesting among her branches. Her beauty among us, her presence, suspends the flow of time, defeats the lower laws of nature. Freed from such loosely bound sense, unblinded by unknowing, the infinite horizon expands even as it recedes. Her eyes, only dimly lit now, dull and brown, widen as if to better fit knowledge. The morning sighs in infinite resignation of her falling. A final bending in the heavy plunge, surging immaculate. Suicidal shafts of early daylight guide the sickening plummet in entire murders of unwinged crows. A scarlet thrush battering the air. The liquid trill of tanager and tawtrix heralds us, the aristocrats of truth. She falls to purge what prose such dark miracles may, in glyphs and lying charms. Remember, she warned, poetry loves a martyr. In the folding of this song from my lips, how she came down like light from nothing, to salvage something beautiful from all this horror, this mindless hour, when the world blackens beneath her, some shining thing cleaned of its ashes, and brightly to signal those lost to sea. In such a land we take no notice of broken statuary. Being such as we are, we'll grind the stone, rubble worked to meal and mortar, foundations of torso, arms of empire. Being such as we are, we make paste of angel bone, broken idol quite fallen, uncrowned of laurels, sprinkled as bone meal in the furrows of the world, a sign waiting to be found, unsearched for, Her presence purifies dialect, giving birth, even in death, to black sons of revelation. She bestows an ephemeral royalty to our chaos, grants us impatient endurance. Ransacked and ravished, she brandishes over pale winter the flowering scepter of her disdains. Path goes on and on and on. We adored her star in its blue-green burning, kindled her heart in ancient caves, and mantled the world in her first love. Forgive us our birth. Our lips have not yet drunk the utterance of your several storms. In the lifting of this stream from my slumber, how the dawn came down like water from nothing. There is no greater love than this. She sleeps, quiet as death and more lovely, wrecked but shouldering thunders. I remember waking in the dewy blue field at dawn and rushing back to see the potter. I knew that Mother and Father would be worried and looking for me, but I had to have some answers about this dream. The potter was still writing at his desk, candles burnt down to stumps. At some point in the night, he had made a beautiful clay chalice that now lay in pieces on the floor. He didn't even look up. Go home, child. You have all the answers you will ever have. I returned home where my father greeted me with silent hugs and a knowing look. He is a weaver, not only of fibers, but of words. He keeps the stories of the people and tells them as he weaves, so our history is in the warp and woof of every basket, every blanket, every winter cap. I remember sitting with him among the standing stones in the reaping season when the grasses had grown as tall as me. His voice was in tune with the dry seed pods scraping along rock as they swayed in the breeze. He pinched off the stalks of 3 and began to braid them together as he spoke. "Do you know why you're special, Lula?" he asked. "Because I am the youngest, I guessed," he laughed. "And so shall you always be." It looked like he was making a bracelet with the grass braid. But there is something else that makes you rare among our people. I am a weaver, this you know. Some are hunters, others are foragers, some are builders, while others are collectors. Just as your mother was a walker, born with a fierce curiosity to explore beyond the next horizon. He stopped braiding for a moment as his eyes squinted at the horizon, as if hoping to spot something very far away. Then, in a near whisper, "You are rare among our people because you are both weaver and walker. You are something more than both. You are a maker." And with that he took my hand, slipped the grass bracelet around my wrist, and said, "Remember that almost nothing is ever what it seems. Beneath the surface is layer upon layer of history, all the little things that together make the whole."